Good day to you, my little ooflets. It's your boy Tuffy Tuft here, and today we have 10 succulent tips to grace your little eyeballs. 10 tips to help you get by in the world of TF2. Number 1. Always Trickstab. An inexperienced spy may tell you that a Trickstab should only be used as a last resort, but in reality you should be aiming to use Trickstabs approximately 100% of the time. Try to avoid the regular backstab as it's far too reliable and doesn't look remotely MLG. The stair stab, the matador or 360 no-scope stab will all show off your immense skill to the enemy, intimidating them into leaving the game and maybe even uninstalling TF2. Number 2. Ignore the objective. The TF2 developers, as a last-minute decision, decided to code in some objectives into the game. But try not to get too distracted by these. Objectives are not the focus of the game and are only meant to be used if you have literally nothing else to do. You should instead be aiming to simply get frags and try and get yourself as close to the top of the leaderboard as possible. So make sure you prioritise this and pretty much anything else over the actual objective. Number 3. Pick up weapons. A late addition to TF2 was the feature that allows you to pick up weapons of fallen players. This is incredibly useful and should be taken advantage of whenever possible. Don't worry too much if you're in the middle of a battle with bullets and explosions flying all over the gaff. If you see a lovely shiny little weapon on the floor, go for it. That mildly interesting weapon skin will immediately make you a better player, and just by holding it, there's a good chance you'll go on to carry your team. Number 4. Never End CTF. The real purpose of a CTF game is to provide you with an environment to play infinite deathmatch. CTF should never really end, but be careful because Valve accidentally coded in a way to actually win this game mode and subsequently end the game, and we don't want that. If you're concerned about this, then one option is to go engineer and camp the intel for the entirety of the game. Intense fun if you're up for the challenge. Even more preferable is to grab the enemy intel and then sit in your own intel room guarding both yours and the enemy's objectives to ensure that no progress can be made throughout the game. At this point, feel free to have a dance around the intel room, safe in the knowledge that the match will never end. Number 5. Be helpful. Sometimes you may see a brand new player ask about something in TF2. Make sure at all costs you make their lives as difficult as possible. Be sarcastic, cynical, or just plain abusive to them. But whatever you do, make sure you don't answer their question because this may give the impression that TF2 has a nice community. Plus, allowing them to learn for themselves will make them a much stronger player in the long run. If, for instance, they ask about the controls of the game, then I recommend using the completely original and hilarious response of saying, "Press Alt F4. Nobody has ever said this before, and you will have the whole server in fits of laughter. Number 6. Self-reflect. TF2 can be quite an intense game, and occasionally it can be necessary to have a brief moment to yourself. Sometimes you simply need to reflect on life, your feelings, who you are as a person, and don't worry if you're in the middle of a round or even in the middle of a one-on-one. If you need a moment, take it. Stare into the middle distance and take yourself to that safe place. Sometimes it's worth finding a quiet corner of the map, just so you can take the time you need to reflect. Think to yourself how and why, where and who am I, how did I get here, who is now and why am I, why is now and who is am, then is also tomorrow is now. Wow Toofty, that's blimmin' deep. Number 7. Join mental servers. Join mental servers. A normal server with enemies to kill, competition, challenges, and some kind of objective is all very nice and all, but sometimes it's not quite enough. If you crave something different, then the community servers may be a great place for you to look. I recommend finding a ridiculously obscure server that's only about a quarter full and then jumping in and just walking around and standing a bit. Sometimes you can walk around and stand a bit with others too. Walking around and standing in painfully obnoxious servers is such a great and valuable way to spend your time. And once you've tried it, you will wonder why you ever bothered playing a normal game of TF2 in the first place. Look at these guys, having a blimmin' marvellous time. They've probably been here for several hours. Why not spend the day here? It's literally endless fun. Number 8. Ask for help with contracts. Contracts are a lot of fun, but can sometimes get a little bit challenging. If you're having trouble, then jump into a server and constantly spam everyone asking for help. I'm sure you'll get loads of volunteers, as a lot of players tend to wait around in TF2 servers purely to be asked this exact question. They will be more than happy to disregard the game they're playing and dedicate themselves entirely to your every whim. Number 9. Stay zoomed in. As a sniper, being aware is of the utmost importance. You need to stay completely aware of what's down your scope at all times. For this reason, try to avoid descoping and looking around or repositioning. Make sure you stay focused through that tiny tube so you never miss a chance at that shot. If you hear anything around you, don't worry too much about that, as it will likely be your teammates getting your back. Remember, the enemy is always at the other end of the map, so never waste your time trying to be aware of your surroundings. Number 10. Place your sentry gun carefully. When placing a sentry gun, do so very carefully. Spend the time you need to find that perfect spot. Sometimes this may mean not actually putting the sentry gun down for a good 4 to 5 minutes. And sure, you may end up getting killed before you actually get a chance to put it down, but rather that than have the gun in a sub-optimal position. Heaven forbid. When you're looking for a lovely spot while the battle rages around you, make sure you're holding the sentry gun in your hands at all times. This will slow you down a little bit, so you have more time to spot that position that's going to be absolutely perfect. Oh hello there, cheeky bonus tip, how are you? I'm blimmin' marvellous. Number bonus. Stand on people. As a player of TF2, you may have noticed that you have an inexplicable and intense urge to stand on people's heads. I just wanted to put your mind at rest and let you know that this is perfectly natural. Standing on people's heads is an important part of TF2, as well as the gaming community as a whole. Make sure if you ever see a spare head lying about that has potential, go ahead and jump on top of it and do your duty. You may also find it beneficial to also practice standing on heads in your spare time too. Often choosing to stand on heads is much more satisfying than playing the actual game. Well, there we go. 10 blimmin' marvellous, juicy tips just for you. I bet you can feel yourself becoming a better player already. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, if you have any suggestions yourself for this series, pop them in the comments below and I'll be sure to pretend I've read them all. Thanks for watching all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Ta-ta.
Mission begins in 60 seconds.